Jessica had done everything right. She ate well, she slept 8 hours, she took her medications. But every afternoon, sitting at her desk, the same thing happened. A heaviness settled into her chest, a quiet pressure she could not explain. She assumed it was stress. She assumed it was age. She was wrong. And what was actually happening inside her lungs would have terrified her. Right now, as you sit watching this, something is happening inside your chest that most people never think about. Every hour you spend sitting compresses your lower lung lobes, restricts your diaphragm, reduces your breathing capacity by up to 30%. And nobody, not your doctor, not your pharmacist, not the health articles you read, ever tells you this is happening. The average American sits for 9.5 hours every single day. 9.5 hours of quiet, invisible, cumulative lung compression. And the damage it causes does not announce itself. It creeps, it accumulates. And by the time most people notice something is wrong, it has already been going on for years. This video is for educational purposes only. Always consult your physician about your breathing health. If you experience severe breathing difficulty right now, call 911 immediately. Here is what actually happens inside your body when you sit. Your spine curves forward, your ribcage drops, and your diaphragm, the large dome-shaped muscle that powers your breathing, becomes physically compressed. It cannot descend fully with each inhale. It cannot draw air into the lower third of your lungs. So those lower lobes, where the majority of your lungs' gas exchange actually happens, sit partially collapsed every hour, every day. And here is where it gets worse. Your diaphragm is a muscle. Like any muscle, it responds to how you use it. When you sit for hours with a compressed diaphragm, it gradually weakens. Not dramatically, not overnight. Slowly, the way all muscle atrophy happens, until one day breathing simply requires more effort than it used to. And you call it aging. 3 hours of uninterrupted sitting. That is all it takes for measurable changes to begin in your breathing pattern. Researchers tracking oxygen levels in sedentary adults found that blood oxygen saturation quietly drops during prolonged sitting, not to dangerous levels, but enough to affect energy, mental clarity, and how hard your heart has to work to compensate. That afternoon fatigue you feel, that midday brain fog, that heaviness after lunch sitting at your desk. It is not just tiredness. Your lungs are delivering less oxygen. Your blood is carrying less fuel to your brain and muscles. And your body is compensating, silently, invisibly, with every shallow sitting breath you take. But what comes next, point 4, is the finding that stopped researchers. The connection between sitting and your lungs that goes far beyond compression and fatigue. Stay with us, because this changes everything about how you think about your chair. Point 4. The finding most people never hear about, and the one that matters most. A large-scale research review analyzing data from 43 separate studies found that sedentary behavior is associated with a 21% increased risk of lung cancer, independent of whether the person exercises regularly. 21% from sitting. Your chair is not just uncomfortable. According to this research, it is a genuine risk factor for the most deadly cancer in America. How? When you sit for prolonged periods, your body triggers a low-grade inflammatory response. Inflammatory molecules released by inactive muscle tissue enter your bloodstream. They reach your lung tissue. And chronic low-grade inflammation in the lungs, sustained over months and years, creates the cellular environment where damage accumulates. This is not theory. This is the mechanism researchers identified across dozens of independent studies. There is a second hidden mechanism: mucus. Your lungs produce mucus continuously to trap debris and pathogens. When you breathe fully, when you move, stand, walk, that mucus moves efficiently through your airways and clears. When you sit still for hours, it pools in the gravity-dependent lower lobes. It thickens. It sits. And thick, stagnant mucus in your lower lungs is not just uncomfortable, it is a breeding ground for the respiratory infections that become harder to fight as we age. So what do? Because the answer is not quit your job, throw away your furniture, never sit again. The answer is deceptively simple, and it costs nothing, and it takes 2 minutes every 20 minutes. The 2022 rule: every 20 minutes of sitting, stand up. Take 2 slow deep breaths while standing. That is it. Research shows that brief standing breaks every 20 minutes are enough to expand your lower lung lobes, restore diaphragm function, restart the mucus clearance mechanism, and interrupt the inflammatory cascade before it builds. 2 minutes every 20 minutes, starting with your next breath. When you stand and breathe deeply, here is what happens inside your lungs. Your diaphragm descends fully for the first time in however long you have been sitting. Your lower lung lobes reinflate. Oxygen rushes into areas that were compressed and underventilated. Mucus begins moving again. Inflammatory signals quiet. Your body exhales, literally and figuratively, with relief. All from standing up and taking 2 deliberate breaths. Set a timer right now. 20 minutes. When it goes off, stand. Breathe twice, deeply, through your nose. Sit back down. That single habit, practiced consistently, is one of the most powerful things you can do for your lung health that requires no equipment, no prescription, and no gym membership. Jessica learned this on a Tuesday afternoon. She stood up, she breathed, she felt the difference within minutes. Not because of medicine, not because of exercise, because she gave her compressed lungs the one thing they had been asking for all afternoon: room. Your lungs do not need you to run a marathon. They do not need expensive supplements or breathing machines. They need you to stand up, breathe, move regularly throughout the day. Give them room to do the job they have been doing for you every moment of your life. Breathe easy, live strong. If this surprised you, and it surprises almost everyone, please share this video right now with someone you care about who sits for long hours. They need to know this. And subscribe for a new video every single week, because your health after 50 deserves real answers.